Welcome, everyone. We have the New Age Legendary Heroes S01 Romulus. If for some reason this is the first time you're seeing this figure or hearing about this figure, New Age is a third-party company. They normally make Legends scale figures, very small figures based off of Transformers. They have decided to create a generation scale version of Megatron. It'll be interesting if they do more figures. Videos and info about this figure has been out for a while, so I'm going to do my best to find some other things to talk about. So we'll do a quick unboxing, and then I want to do some comparisons and basically take a look at some of this weirdness with his height, because sometimes you see pictures where he's the same height, maybe a little bit taller than Legacy Optimus, and sometimes he's smaller. So for packaging, this is some pretty cool packaging. The box is actually pretty small also. So here's Studio Series Optimus, and it's not a big box. It's like the size of a Voyager-ish Studio Series box. They've also done a lot of like call outs to the Studio Series with this numbering system, the light blue stripe. The Legendary Heroes is kind of G1 Transformer-y. On the bottom here, it shows the accessories. That's cool. That's definitely not a Studio Series ripoff. The side pretty much is, you got the portrait, you got the number. It looks cool, but it is what it is. And on this side, we've got the front and the back of the figure. They really want us to see the back. It is clean. It's worth talking about. And then on the back, you could be fooled that this is the front. It's just a nice photo of the figure, almost McFarlane-like. So that is the outside of the packaging. Inside, he is on a blister. He's got a weirdly shaped booklet, a rectangular booklet. You don't ever really see that, but there are so many steps. And then here he is in a tray. You can see the accessories on the side, nothing on the back. And that is pretty much it for the packaging. So let's go ahead and get him on out. So here he is out of the package, and we'll go over his accessories real quick. So he's got a face, a default face, pretty stoic face. He's got a yelling face. He's got a angry yelling face. He's got kind of a maniacal laughing face. And he's got an evil smirk face. He has the blaster that he shot Optimus with in Transformers the movie. This is translucent purple. He's got the sword from Transformers the movie. The blade is not removable. And then he's got a mace from, I believe, the first episode of the G1 cartoon. In person, this figure is pretty impressive. And for people who are not aware or familiar, this is basically a couple levels of things to talk about here. So they make these legend scale figures, and they will often copy the look of a masterpiece figure. and try to micronize that as best as possible into a little, tiny 4-inch figure. They did that with Masterpiece Megatron. They took that small figure and blew it up, and that's what this is. There is some slight differences in the design, but that's pretty much what it is. So when you look at this and you say, wow, this is a cool figure, what you're really saying is, wow, Masterpiece Megatron is cool, and it's cool that they made a smaller version of Masterpiece Megatron, because that's what this guy is doing. As a stand-in for a mainline figure, it's a little weird in that, and matter of fact, let's go ahead and start doing some comparisons. For instance, this is the War for Cybertron Megatron. This is the premium version that Takara did. This might be a bad example because there's like a ton of extra paint on him, but the styling doesn't quite match. You can pretend it does, but it doesn't quite do it. Like, there's a lot more like just extra things put onto these War for Cybertron figures to give them, more surface detail. Like, he's got this, octagon thing here. He's got some line work here. There's a bunch of little line work and greebling on the legs. On the Newage figure, there's a lot of broken lines, but it's because of transformation. There's not too much greebling on the figure, and where there is, it's again replicating the Masterpiece figure. And then maybe the other thing that throws it off is this figure it seems like it's fully painted, and that does stand out a little bit compared to a mainline figure. Here's another good example of that, where you've got all this surface detail on this figure. The paint is minimal. They're trying to keep costs low. And you can put these two guys together, but the styling does stand out a little bit. Nice thing is this figure is a little bit taller in this configuration right now, so I think he looks pretty good. But even for legacy line, he probably should be a tad bit taller. Actually, I don't know. That might be the perfect scale for these two. And then here we've got Shockwave from the Takara Bridge Crew Dramatic Capture. And he's a little bit shorter, just a little bit. I think that actually works pretty well. Again, these Legacy Fall for Cybertron figures have a lot of surface detail, though, like detail that was never on the figure in any previous form. That's the one thing that just kind of stands out about the Legacy line in general. Here we have a Earthrise Megatron. Earthrise Megatron often does not stand very well on his own. This figure is quite bulky. Like, it just has a bulky presence, like the limbs are very thick. So this does have quite a bit of contrast between this guy, who is quite thin at this scale. And as you can see, he kind of towers over this Megatron. I mean, the height difference is like maybe a hair different, but because this figure is so wide, the limbs are much thicker, it contrasts quite a bit. Okay, so a Legacy Generations War for Cybertron Earthrise Optimus. So without messing with this figure at all, Optimus is a good hair taller. I believe there's something that can be done with the feet to make it a little bit bigger, taller. So there's not a lot, but the foot out of the package is set back a little bit. You can pull this forward. There's a articulation arm going into the leg. That will get you a tad bit more height. Optimus is still a teeny bit bigger though. It didn't really make too much of a difference. Maybe you can pull the head out a little bit more, because if you look at their shoulders and their chest, they're kind of the same height. So if you pull the head out some, it does make a little bit of a difference. Optimus is still a teeny bit taller. Okay, and I think I have kind of situated the feet as much as I can to get him some height. And I want to make sure he's standing straight. And it's very minimal. So like Optimus's eye line is actually a tad bit shorter than Megatron's, but with the crest, you know, not trying to count the antenna on the side, but with the crest, it does make him a tad bit taller at the head. But I think like comparing shoulder to shoulder, definitely chest to chest, they're practically the same height. Now, forgetting all that and just trying to, you know, look at these guys as figures, you know, not trying to overthink, is one taller or not. When you look at them side by side, Earthrise still has a bit of a wider presence. You know, he's, you know, like wide. So it's a little mixed. I think for what they were doing with this, they should have made him a little bit bigger. This Optimus has been out for years, and this is like from a, you know, hitting the mark, this guy is just a little bit too small. Like if you could you could take a mouse and like stretch him out, whatever CAD they used to build this, they should have made him a teeny bit bigger, you know, added like 10-20% to him, probably would have been fine. And then I'm just going to show this just to talk about it. He definitely doesn't reach this height, and I would not blame them for that, because undoubtedly when they were producing this, they didn't even know this was in the pipeline. So if they were going to come and do a 2.0, you know, they need to make a bigger figure, and that would improve this. And then having them, you know, having these three stand like this and looking at it, Megatron seems bigger than Optimus right now. So there's just kind of a bit of a trick with perception and how you display these guys. So I think this is fine, to be honest. There's a little thing, you know, there's a few things that give this away as not this guy not matching well. Mostly the hand, because mainline figures are going to have a static hand. Even though some of them sometimes have hinges, they still have that square look to the hands. And this figure has very slim, dainty fingers, and it's difficult even to take that and give it kind of a square look. But it's not the worst thing. And we are never going to get a mainline gun transforming Megatron. So this is your only bet for getting a figure like this. It does look really nice. It feels really nice. It's got a good bit of metal here and there to reinforce parts of the transformation that would just probably break if it wasn't metal. So I give him kudos for that. Now, we know that there is a 86 Megatron in the pipeline. Who knows what it's going to look like? We do know it's going to transform into a tank. That's about it. And hopefully it will be a flatter design and not too greebly, not too, overly detailed. But that Megatron will definitely tower over these guys whenever it comes out. And one thing I know about Newage, they will make 2.0s and 3.0s, and they'll keep redoing figures. I don't know how many Megatrons they've done, but they've done multiple versions of different characters, so I am almost certain they will come out with a bigger version of this at some point. So let me know what you think in the comments. Did you get this guy? Are you going to get this guy? Is the height a deal breaker? Is it just fine? Me personally, I think it's just fine. I think it fits in okay, and even if it's a tiny bit shorter than this Optimus, I think it's perfectly fine. I think people will like it. Thank you for watching. If you haven't done so, please like and subscribe. And as always, please tune in to more videos coming up. Thank you.